There you go. You know what to do. You need to stop scrolling right now. You know who you see on your screen is the one and only Papa Goat. Now, some of you will watch this as we do it live, and some of you will catch it after you actually come from work or maybe tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I just want to say welcome to the show. Today we have the one and only Julian, and this is Wine and Whiskey Wednesday. So as always, let's give him a toast real quick, Julian. So let's go ahead and sip and some of that good stuff. But I have to have a disclaimer. This is actually Haitian rum. So which mean even though it's wine and whiskey, yeah, just drink responsibly, okay? I love to have a good time. But anyway, today you have the honor to have Julian Johnson. We're going to unpack some stuff. Um, I'm gonna let Julian tell you a little bit about himself, but before he goes there, I actually know him for a while now, and we go back as it like went on 2 years. And this is a young man. The mindset is out of this world. And one of the best gifts he gave me, he didn't even know I was gonna mention that today. But one of the best gifts he gave me, he say, "Hey man, have you ever heard of the book The Alchemist?" I'm like, I heard of it. But the moment he said that, I went and read the book. One of the best book I ever read. But anyway, Julian, I want to give you the floor, my brother. Welcome to the show. Please tell everybody who you are. The floor is yours, my brother.
Awesome. Peace, family, everybody. I appreciate it, James. It's an honor to be here tonight, honestly. He's been here on this road since day one, man. So James is considered a day one person to me, my day one homie, brother, friend, kind of mentor here and there. Introduced me, to some of the game that I'm gonna be giving you guys tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, James, and to his wife as well, Ruthie. Great couple, awesome people. It is great you could bring people like your family around these people like this, and you feel safe and wonderful. So respect to them, and I appreciate it, brother.
Man,
Appreciate for having me.
of
So
course, man.
yeah, man, kind of to start where we give a brief background about myself. I don't know if it may or may not be brief, so just bear with me, y'all. So again, I'm Julian Johnson Jr. So I'm second in line. My father, he's the senior here. Have two lovely parents, Jay and Portia Johnson. Um, they migrated down to Florida actually from Boston. So we're originally from Boston. I was born there back in '93. We moved here about '94 to Eatonville, Florida. Um, from the current mayor now, he was had a relationship. Him and my father were friends. He was a mentor to my father up in Boston. So we migrated down to Florida and got acclimated in this town called Eatonville, Florida. And it was just me and my sister right now. So I have two siblings, an older sister, Jaleesa. She's in Georgia right now. Just got married probably 2 to 3 years ago, living her life, just had a baby last year. So I'm currently an uncle.
There
And
you
then
go.
also my younger sister, Jalea, she's 19 and she has autism. So probably my inspiration why I do everything I do and why I go so hard every day and why my mindset is the way it is right now. But that's kind of like a bit about me and my personal life. I'm also right now in the industry and understanding finances. And how did I get there? It's been a long journey, honestly, man. People wouldn't even understand. People wouldn't even know how far I've came from coming from college, and I had no idea that I'll be doing what I do today. If you could ask me maybe 6, 7 years ago, even 8, maybe 10 years ago, I wouldn't even know like just how life happened and planned out. So I was in college, I played football. I was average at that, but you know, as I played ball, I kind of got tired. I grew I don't want to say a dislike or a hatred for the game, but I kind of seen what it was and what it is of being an athlete when I got to the collegiate level. Because where I went to school, I was honored and blessed to have a scholarship to go to Lake Highland Prep, which is a prestigious school here in Orlando, Florida. And from there, man, I was exposed to a lot. So being in that environment, a lot of I don't say everybody gets that opportunity. However, like I didn't truly know who I was, so it was harder to really grasp the current situation I was in. So many people could be on the outside looking in and saying like, "Man, I wish I was in that position. I would have bodied that." But you don't know that because you're not in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from where you come from, and we don't come from, an economically thriving environment. We come from, the lower class, middle class, lower class environment, and seeing people living in the asset class is a totally different ballgame. The mindset is different, and I got to experience that, and then also I got into college. I got a scholarship to play football, and while I was on that process and journey, man, I started discovering that maybe this isn't for me, football. So the thing is, I knew that I needed to get a degree, so I stuck it out. However, I feel like that could have been selfish at the same time, like because I wasn't honest with the coaches and everything like that. Like, hey, I got a scholarship here, but I don't even want to play. There's people out here who's killing, who's not on scholarship, but they are fighting to get a scholarship, and I'm just sitting here taking that up. But however, me being a Capricorn and selfish, I'm not gonna tell them my intention, my long term intention. Okay, I need to get this degree. Really, that was just finishing that for my family. But
Mm.
as I was in college, man, I got into entrepreneurship. I started in the real estate field, and I got into what they call wholesaling. So wholesaling, it was generally fun, but I used to no lie, I used to tell Coach. I don't know if he were to watch this interview because he does follow me on Facebook. I used to be like, Coach, yo, I got a class to go to, but really, I'm at a real estate event at one of the hotels down in Daytona. I got
This is
class at
this
7. I
is
can't make practice
confession
today.
time. Confession, Coach. I
I
hope you're
can't make
watching, Coach.
yeah, I can't make practice today. So, but really, I'm at a real estate event, man, and I just, I was a person about action. I wasn't good in the learning environment of the school system, so I couldn't just sit there and learn. I got to a point in college where I was like, all right, this is pointless. Like, I'm not learning. I'm in the business profession, but they're not really teaching me business. I don't learn like so. I got in and took action, and what happened was, as I took that journey on in real estate, excuse me, James got me drinking. I'm not really a drinker, but I got into the wholesaling part, and I got this book called Flip by Nick Ruiz. I'll never forget. I still have it to this day. And then I also read Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I started seeing like, whoa, what's going on? Because I was down bad. Like I needed money. Like we was in college, the refund checks wasn't dispersing fast enough, and anybody who goes to a HBCU can, they can understand that part when it comes to the financial aid side and not getting your money on time. So I got into that. I was just like, yo, I need some money. So I hit up, a friend of mine who I currently work with today. I just brought him in on the insurance side, Terrell. I hit him up and we both got in on the wholesaling, and I was able to get like my first property under contract, but I didn't know, I was just going by myself, and me and him were just doing it, and I kind of did it the wrong way. So I didn't have a pool of buyers. I had the property under contract. I ended up relisting it on Craigslist, and I woke up one morning. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to close a deal, gonna make $5,000. And I woke up one morning to a long text from the owner just telling me, like, yo, like, you got my property on here. That wasn't, you didn't mention anything that you would be reselling it and making money off of me. Mind you, he's all the way in Denver. He knows nothing about the property or anything. So
Wow.
he got mad, and we kind of went parted ways. We had to terminate the contract and everything. So I was depressed for a few days, honestly, because it's like $5,000 as a college student. That sounds good, like especially when you don't have money coming in,
Hmm.
can't call home to get money or anything like that. But that journey led me on to, I had a sick taste for real estate in my mouth after that. Like I was like, oh my goodness, I can't do this. So I got into the legal cannabis industry and I was, working with that from this guy my dad introduced me to, and we worked on that, and from there I moved to Seattle. to grow that company. From Seattle, we moved to LA, and we sat and did some big things. We did a scholarship with Florida A&M University, and a company called Viola with the who the founder is Al Harrington. He used to play in the NBA. So we did a scholarship to send 10 kids, give them, it was $30,000 full, but we were giving 10 kids pretty much $3,000 each of funds to go to school for certain topics in cannabis, whether that's marketing, horticulture, agriculture, anything from the business side of business, because people think of, when they think of cannabis, they think of smoking and getting high. However, it's a huge business. It's multi-billion dollar industry out right now, and everybody's getting their foot in inside, or their hands inside of that pot.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into that, but then I realized that that really wasn't like my true inspiration. I didn't really want to do that. But I encourage people to also try things. You're in your 20s, get out there and try different things. So I tried that. I tried real estate. I tried that, and then I got back, moved back to Florida at the LA. Man, I lost everything, honestly, just from taking risks. I lost my car. Excuse me. I lost all my finances. Everything just took a bad major hit, man. Honestly, and and I'm being completely honest with y'all. My credit score was in the 400s. I had a charge off account on my with a car charge off on my account because the car got caught in the tow one of those tow lots and stuff. Somebody towed it because it was at my homie's apartment complex. They towed it, and it was just crazy, man. Like they wanted like 1,200, no, 1,500 for it. The car wasn't worth anything because the engine died. Like it was like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing happening until I
Mm-hmm.
could really, understand. Like, all right, bro, let's take a step back and refocus and look another direction. My parents was on me, and I honestly thank them today, till this day, man. And honestly, I wouldn't be where I am without my family. I have great parents, man. All my friends tell me that, and sometimes they feel like I could be a little bit selfish and everything, but that's just my natural thing. I'm not selfish. I show by action more than words, so I could show people more than I can tell them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which is
honestly,
a
my
good
family,
quality to have. Very good quality to have,
absolutely,
by the way.
absolutely, yeah, and I thank them to this day, and my sister as well, to helping me get it back on that right path. They were with me throughout the entire process. I know they was tired of me calling like, "Hey man, I need money." My aunts, everybody, like, shout out to the whole family who took care of me, friends, whoever was there. It was to the point like, all right, man, you asking it's getting a constant cycle now. You asking a little bit too much for some money now. But I got to understand that, okay, there is an issue there. If I'm asking people for money, there's some habits that I need to change, and the weakness there was money for me. So I understood, like, all right, I'm not really great with the finances back then and everything. I'm not so savvy with them, disciplined with my finances. So maybe what I should do is get back into real estate. I came back home. I tried to get back into real estate, but I realized how saturated this market was, and it's going to take a lot of effort and all of these different things. But I need money. I need money now. I don't have time to be sitting here calling people, hunting them down, and moving on their time. I need money. I started my talking to my current girlfriend back then during that time, and I'm like, yeah, well, things gonna get better and all of this. Uh, and they didn't. It took some time, and about a year from there, she stuck around, and that was dope. My mom mentioned something about insurance, so I was like, my mom mentioned it. Usually, I take this thing, I don't really take advice from people who aren't doing what I want to do. But she worked in the insurance field and things like that, so I'm like, okay, life insurance. And then another good friend, Rosalind, she reached out to me about it. But I kind of blew it off because I was like, "What is she talking about? She don't know what she's talking about, all of this stuff." And then from there, I met somebody randomly. They just like prospected me when I was in a Publix, and he told me the company name. I'm like, "Oh, there." She tell me about this. So literally that same day, she told you, James, and
Yeah.
that's where Rosalind told you, and then you called me, and that's kind of like where it been. So James was persistent on me, y'all. Like I'm like, why is this dude calling me, bro? I don't got time for this. Like, what is he talking about? Like, it was December 2019, I think. That whole month, well, kind of like November, December, and then they got me to come to the office, talk to me and everything. I end up, getting on in the insurance game, and James introduced me to that, and just I thank him today for being persistent on me and exposing me to something new, which is the insurance industry, and really the game and money, the game of money, really. So I really thank everybody that I just talked about, my girl for always being there and supporting me, man. I can go on and on about that. And from her not wanting anything to do with it to now she's probably the most talkative about money and helping other people. So it things have, changed in the right direction finally, just from, persevering through that, being persistent and not giving up,
Hmm.
and, fixing my mindset from a sense of entitlement to abundant. And that's when things started, switching and things started flowing for me as a person. So a bit where I'm from is Eatonville, Florida. I'm gonna go over that a little bit again. So Eatonville is the first Black incorporated town in America. It's established in 1887. Um, some of the biggest big people come out of there. Zora Neale Hurston, who's a famous poet that mostly if you're Black, you pretty much know who Zora Neale Hurston is. The great Hungerford Prep. All of that was established out of Eatonville. Deacon Jones, the football great, as well. Some current great people as well. Clinton Dix, he played for the Green Bay Packers, the Cowboys, and then also the Redskins. He's a current in the, I think he's a free agent right now. But some great people who went to college out of Eatonville, people who've made an impact, and also of course myself. No cockiness or anything, but I I can honestly say like what we got coming in the future here, man. We're gonna make some major changes and shifts in our culture,
Hmm.
and then in the economy of Eatonville, man. So I want to go through and break it down. That's a bit on the background about me. I know I talk and ramble forever, but
No,
we're
it's all
gonna
great
jump into
information.
this.
It's all
We're
great
gonna jump
information,
into
brother.
all right.
It's all great information, brother. And then
So
I'm happy. I'm looking at the live here, and you're probably watching this on YouTube. But right now we live on Facebook. I'm actually seeing a lot of love going on your story, man. So thank you for
that's
sharing with her
good.
the
That's
stories
good.
with us. But yeah, keep going, brother. Keep going.
Hey mom, hey dad, hey Chris, Jaleesa, if you watching, what's up? I don't know who else watching, but I love y'all. Thank y'all so much, always. So we're gonna start here, man. And what I've learned throughout this journey, man. I don't know. It's been a quick journey. I feel like I have so much more to accomplish, but I know so much in this big old head of mine, like just from my experiences in life, man. And I'm just, constantly with James. I'm trying to keep fire going and everything. So we're gonna start with money, understanding money, man. That's big in our community is the finances, the lack of finances. Why is our community where it is today? And I always ask, those are the things. When it comes to me, I'm a critical thinker, so I'm gonna always ask questions. Some people don't like that. Some people get annoyed by it. Some people ready to fight you if you asking questions. It's not the right time to ask a question, but for me, I'm gonna ask a question because I want to know and I want to understand why. And you should too. You should always want to know and understand why something is happening, because you always need a purpose and why to what you're doing. Because if you don't, somebody else is doing it and they're controlling your life. When you don't have why, somebody else's why is going to control yours. And which is why how economics generally works. So what is money? You have a definition of what money is. I'm going to read that definition. So money is an economic unit that functions as a generally recognized medium of exchange for transactional purposes in an economy. So you exchange your money and you should receive something back. So whether if you go to the grocery store, you're gonna swipe your card. So you're gonna use your money, swipe your card to get your groceries. And that's how transactions generally work. It's the basics of what money is and understanding that. So understanding money is the definition should be right here. Money is commonly referred to as currency. Currency is the key word there. So understanding what is currency. Most people that I know, I grew up around, they flashing money like this and all of that, but not understanding what that is. Money like this is paper. That's printed paper. It has no backing. It has no worth to it. So really, are you really getting money? If you're flashing your money, you don't really have solid money. It's like you playing a game of Monopoly and you flashing the paper. Because if the system goes bankrupt today, that $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 you have is worth nothing. It's a piece of paper. So when you have a currency that is a piece of paper, it's not backed by anything, you have nothing. So that word currency, it's so deeply rooted. What's the root word of currency? It's current. And shout out to Jake Taylor Jacobs. You could follow him on Instagram, man. He's really good at preaching and understanding money, what money is. And I got this saying from him: when it comes to currency, the root word is current. What is a current? And I gave James that definition as well. So I'll read that one too. So you want to understand what a current is. And so current pretty much means belonging to the present time, happening or being used or done now, a body of water or air moving in a definite direction. So when you think of currency, you have to think of things that are constantly moving. When a current stops, it's no longer a current. So when money stops, the economy stops, everything stops. So when you have money not working for you at the moment, you will always be a slave to money because your money is not moving. And how do you get your money to move? There's plenty of ways to get your money to move. You get your money to move by understanding how money works. How does money work? You have different accounts out there. So you have what you have. People usually put their money in. What is a bank? A bank is, banks. People put banks on a high level. However, the simplest concept of a bank is pretty much a business in the business of money management. You're pretty much going to the bank, you're giving them your money, you're lending the bank your money. They're taking your money and putting it in other things to make more money. Meanwhile, you think that, oh, my money is safe in the bank, but however, you don't know that. If the market crashes at the moment with your money in there, you have thousands of dollars in that money. If you have over $250,000, the bank tells you the FDIC insures $250,000 in that account. If you have over that and that bank crashes, they only can insure up to 250,000. If you had $1 million in it, what can you do if your money's all in that one bank account? And that's the thing. Banks aren't the most stable businesses out there. They're just businesses. So they're in the business of money management, and you're lending them your money for them to make more money, and they're just doing that with everybody. So it's the simple concepts of understanding those different things and the education that we need in our community to understand what a bank is, what money is. Money grows in different accounts. So, and I think James has that picture up there. I'm gonna go through those pictures. So, the first account is like a fixed account. So that's pretty much like your regular CDs, your checking or savings accounts that get maybe 0.5% to, let's say, 1 to 2, maybe 2%. But how the economy's been, it's not in that area. So it's around close to maybe 1% of interest on your money. That only is beneficial if you have over 100 grand in there, but it's still not, adding up at a pace to beat inflation. Then you also have the variable account where mostly all of your 401ks, your retirement accounts like that, IRAs, um, real estate is in the variable market. Pretty much everything, those markets that everybody know about, the stock market, all of those are variable accounts and variable markets. That is a dangerous place to have your money. Well, most of your money. So if all your money is in there, man, that is probably the biggest risk you can take. One, because the volatility, that market crashes, your money is gone. And that's your retirement money. That's your 401ks. A lot of people don't know that they work at jobs and they just tell them to move to 401ks, but most jobs are moving towards 401ks because that's less stress, less responsibility for them having to pay them pensions out to people. A lot of companies aren't having the money to pay those pensions, and people are putting money in the 401ks, but they're not knowing that they're pretty much they have their retirement in a account where it is risk. They're risking to lose their money. And lastly, you have the index account, which James introduced me to, man. And ever since then, I fell in love with that account. That index account pretty much is like a what do you call those tools? It's like a ratchet. I don't know if it's a ratchet, but you screw something on, but when you push it back this way, it tightens it. When you push it back that way, it doesn't do anything, and it comes like this. That's
Mm-hmm.
what similar index account is similar to that. So your money will always go up, but it will never go down in times of a crash of a market crash or a downturn in the market. You're always gonna get gains in that market, and some people are able to get gains when the market is at zero or when the market goes down. And this account has been able to do that for people. So that's like the basic concepts of money and understanding money and how that works. And then you have things like the IUL, which would we work with a lot. And I'm gonna be getting into that more often. I'm in school right now to I'm going to school for a certified financial planning certificate pretty much. So I'm going to University of Florida. I'll be starting in the next month. I got a scholarship to do that. So that was a huge blessing on top of a lot of many other things that's been happening. But I did that for the sole purpose of helping, wanting to go and help my community and understanding more. But I already have a plan going into that. Like, I'm pretty sure I will get in there and I'll be able to teach the people that are teaching me what I know in the insurance, because insurance is the number one backbone of the financial services industry. And it's the number one industry in the world, honestly. Insurance companies are the top rated companies out there, financial companies out there. So you having your money in an insurance company, it is probably the most safest place it could be, safer than the bank. People generally only use banks because they're convenient, but they think, oh, is my money's liquid. Your money's liquid in an insurance policy. If you put money in an insurance policy, you give a call 24, 48 hours, you have that transfer in your account, and it's tax free. And a lot of people don't know that. The tax free part is probably the biggest aspect of insurance, that the government allows you to do three things under their on the Internal Revenue Code. So Section 72E, you can grow your money tax free. 7702, and you guys could go and look this stuff up, man. I'm not even capping. Like, this is real stuff. 7702, they allow you to access the money tax free. And then 72E is the first one I said, and then 101A is the last one, where when you die, because all of us will have to die someday. Nobody's getting out of here alive. And when you die, your money in that account will blossom and transfer to your beneficiaries tax free. So it's like a built-in trust. And I believe that this account, honestly, man, I believe this account could change so many lives in my community. I believe it will be the tool that I use in my mission, my purpose, to change my community and to change the generations to come. Because Black wealth, they're predicting Black wealth to be zero by 2053. I don't know if everybody knows that. You can Google a simple Google search.
Mm-hmm.
Black wealth is projected to be zero by 2053. And how can they project that? Is they're they're passing laws right now where they're funding people to come in here, pretty much immigrants to come in here and you know get get benefits pretty much. So billions of dollars are going towards that, because what they're trying to do, politicians, they say one thing and do the other. They promise people this, they promise people that, but however, when it comes to basic economics and people not understand that, you will fall for what they say. But in reality, you have to understand economics to know that that stuff isn't, something has to give. Like, if they're going to promise you this, something else has to go. And when more and more people come into the country, the true Black Americans here are going to suffer. Like, we lose a bit of our wealth every time immigrants come in the country. And we could get into politics, but I won't get into that. But that's common sense and understanding those different things. But another thing when it comes to your money is to understand is inflation. We're in the rude awakening of a big, big, big I don't know, something's gonna happen. The market, something they're trying to do whatever to prevent it from crashing, but something's gonna happen because they're increasing taxes on the rich and wealthy. But that's almost impossible to do without taxing everybody. Somebody, you're gonna get hit either way. And politicians get on stage and say these things like, "Oh, we're gonna increase taxes on the top, earners in the country of $400,000 and more." All that's gonna do is like, if you're making $400,000 a year or whatever, man, you doing something different. So you're using your head because the game is chess. It's not checkers. It's strategy. So all they're gonna do is find ways to not pay the government more. So that's
Hmm.
gonna affect. How does that affect the lower class? How does that affect the middle class? They're cutting jobs and going towards technology, automation,
That's right. And
AI.
you know what? Not to stop you here, Julian.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that point up. And guys, by the way, whatever Julian just mentioned, do your own research. Look in Google. That there's
you
a
can go
reason I
look
bring
that
this
up.
guy here. But I know you guys probably remember this guy, Ben Carson. And if I knew Julian was gonna bring the subject, I would probably get my book. He has a book called America the Beautiful, right? America the Beautiful. It's a nice book, you know, and one of the main thing he talk about in that book is when you look at the history of ancient Rome. He has videos on that, by the way. Ancient Rome, the same thing actually happened in ancient Rome,
Mm,
where we taxing the wealthy
right,
for the benefit of the lower class, and it makes sense in an emotional way, especially if you fell under the lower class or middle class, whatever you want to call it.
right.
But Rome to come from and having the strongest economy in the world, and that's one of the reasons the economy collapsed. Tax the
Hmm.
wealthy, and Julia mentioned something
Right,
important. It's always gonna be okay. You trying to tax me? I'm the one creating jobs. I'm doing
right.
this. I don't want to be paying all that tax. So guess what? I know the system favor where the wealthy
Hmm.
can avoid taxes. So that's when Julian mentioned tax code 7702 and everything he just mentioned earlier. It's simply because the education is there. We just have to go find it ourselves. So I know some of you may be listening to this like, oh my God, I can't believe the guy just say that. Just get your emotion out of there. Do your own research. Because
Got to.
the whole thing of politics is to make you feel good.
Right.
Whatever they say, they make you feel good about it as they're working on their own agenda to in
Right.
the future become against you. Unfortunately, that's
Hmm.
how part of the system work. But I'm glad you bring that one up, Julian. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, please continue. And if
Absolutely,
go
bro.
ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. That's something that's huge, man. No, people don't generally think. You got to be thinking 10, 15 steps ahead. Like Patrick Bet David, another guy who's big time entrepreneurship, who's a big time entrepreneur. He's big on thinking ahead. In what is his book called? 15, I think. What is it?
Your next five
Your next
moves.
5 moves. But they want you to be thinking 15 steps ahead. But how do you think people are able to make or keep people captivated for 400 years in slavery? Like they thinking 400 years from now. You're thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking for the weekend to go party and do different things like that. While these people in the house or wherever in their office and they're thinking about future generational wealth. And that's the issue. That's where the mindsets are totally different from the wealthy and the lower class. And that's not saying we can't be wealthy ourselves, but it does start where you are today in your house. It starts within your family. It starts with your mindset and understanding, but being self-aware. Um, that's something that is probably one of the things. Mental therapy, man. That is a huge thing that we need to work on in our community, and we need to address and be honest with ourselves, man. Like, I feel like Black people, us being Black and everything here in America, it can be depressing sometimes. So when you talk about these uncomfortable conversations, people generally don't like to hear it because it's like, yo, our life already uncomfortable. So that's why we're always trying to party. That's why we're always trying to do these different things to get away from reality. It's a coping mechanism. We joke about everything. We're always playing around. But while we're doing that, these people taking money out your future kids' mouths. Like your future kids, the people who are preparing for the future, your kid, if you're not preparing you and your life and your kids will be working for those people who were preparing, and they're going to be hiring your kids in the future, and that's just how the game goes. But you can't keep being a victim to it. You have to something just grab life by the horns and take control. And that's something we
Absolutely.
need to really address is our mental health and understanding that. And I took the first step of seeking out going to therapy myself this year. And I'm gonna continue to do that more and more often because it actually does help. People think that therapy is like, oh, I don't need to go vent to somebody, but therapy is not just venting. These people put systems in place for you to get over things, get over trauma, get over whatever you're struggling in with life. They're specialists, they're professionals in that area, so they can help you, get over a hump if you feel stuck or something like that. A therapist is not a venting person. So I think understanding and education is what we need. Like, because people think of therapy, they thinking, oh, I need to go vent to somebody, but that's not what a therapist is there for. Some of them will, because some of them just will take your money and let you vent and not create different avenues
Hmm.
for you to get better in that area. But that is something that I believe is one of the biggest things that we could work on in our community, and also communication, man. That is probably the second biggest thing. Me and Kristen, we always talk about that, and we've been big on that in our relationship, and it's helped our relationship. It's communication, man. Like, it's scary because you don't know. It's like you're in a vulnerable state, and if you've been taken advantage of in life, you will definitely understand why you feel vulnerable when you're communicating some of the darkest sides of you, and some of the most private things to somebody, because a lot of people have done that and somebody has thrown it in their face when they're angry and or told other people and talked behind their back. But like, if we could move forward from that and grow our relationships better with, you know with the people around us, with our families, with our significant others, and I believe that that would be, some of the biggest steps towards growth in our community.
Yep.
Restructuring the Black family. Like, my company
Hmm.
is LVNU, living uncomfortable, man. Like, that's literally what I base my life off of, is living uncomfortable. James will tell you, like, in a quick second, I'll be quick to go and dive off the deep end.
Yep.
Like, all right, let's go. I take my bed out my room. I sleep on the floor. I put myself through brutal things just to get stuff done, because I understand what procrastination would do to you,
Hmm.
and how it can hit. You're taking kid money out your future kid's mouth, and that's how I look at it. Like, when
It's
you're
true.
waiting, somebody else is plotting and somebody else is getting to it.
Hmm.
So just that's something. Those are the biggest things for me. I do have like four other things that I want to leave nuggets for us as Black men, and I'm speaking
Before
to
you
us.
give up, before you give the
Uh-huh.
four other nuggets, I want to mention something as well, Julian, because we're about to wrap up soon, and I'm having so much fun. This is a really interesting conversation, and I hope people, watch this and share this with your friends. So, you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned in the Black community, mental health is one of the biggest things. And it's
Mhm.
funny you mentioned that because maybe our next episode or the episode after, I'm actually gonna bring a licensed mental health professional, Black, to actually speak on that. Simply
Mhm.
because in our community we see mental health as if I'm talking to a psychiatrist, or if I'm telling somebody my problem, you don't feel comfortable about it. But there's a lot of trauma we go through where we need a
Mhm.
professional to actually process something. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Right.
And the second thing you mentioned is communication, another great one as well. And I'm just gonna mention finances, and the Black community especially, and I'm Haitian. Everybody see my flag behind here. I'm Haitian. In my community, and I see it in the African American community as well, is when we start talking about finances, when you start talking about a subject that is very uncomfortable, that communication level literally decrease. In a way, let me explain what that means. The husband will get very reserved. 9 out of 10 times I experienced that. So when we're talking about a budget for an IUL or whatever the individual going to be doing, The husband get reserved. A lot of time the wife as well, they're just uncomfortable to communicate. And it does put you in a very vulnerable position, like you mentioned earlier, Julian, when you
Mm.
are lowering your guard and you are expressing that, whether it's through financial with your spouse, with your girlfriend, with your significant other, or anybody that's close to you and a good friend, you start feeling naked. One thing I would add to that, based on experience, if you decide to share something or to share something with somebody, of course, do your homework. You don't want to get out there and just share everything personally to anybody. And if you believe you need help or somebody around you need help, reach out to a professional. As black men, black women, we need to understand that it is important we get those help. So I just want to say thank you, Julian, for bringing that subject. But now you can go ahead and give the nuggets so we can wrap up very soon here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man, that's important, man. I'm glad that you did mention that. I'll be tuned into that conversation, even though I'm always tuned in, locked in. I've been locked in. And I want everybody who watching this to hold me accountable too, man. I put a big goal on myself for this next upcoming month. So before I start school, guys, my goal is huge. But they say to aim high, man, because if you fall short, it's gonna be somewhere where you want it to be. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So I'm trying to hit $50,000 in income this month.
There you go.
I'm working towards it. I'm active every day, calling people, but that takes investing in yourself, investing in your business and whatever you're doing. Getting coaching, jumping on calls, being on meetings, being present, being active with your mentors, whoever else is there, because you need that accountability. You need everybody to know. And I'm active in a group chat. I know people probably like, dang, why is he so active? But I want them to understand that, okay, I'm not the greatest in all areas. I put a script together, and James was like, if you need help, let me know. I'm like, well, let everybody chime in if I can, because I'm good with getting perspective from everybody. I don't care about criticism, critiquing me. That's gonna make me better. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are scared of is criticism from others. Everybody can point the finger and critique everybody else, but when it comes to people critiquing them, everybody can't take that.
Amen.
And yeah, we watch that in basketball, sports, whatever, every day. People critiquing other people, but like you could look at their life and there's so many things that need critiquing, but nobody doing that, and they don't want that. But that's something the hard truths that people don't want. But before we go, man, I just wanted to give four things towards black men, because in our community as black men, we're the leaders. Our women are a reflection of us. Um, I can stress that. There's so much I can stress out about that. Like who you are, your woman is looking up to you regardless of what you like, whether you like it or not. You want to be your own person, but if you're gonna lead, you gotta lead, and you have to be dominant in certain areas. And for me, I listen to podcasts, man. A big one I listen to is what is it? It's called New Radio, and that helps me kind of perceive different things in my relationship and life. Understanding being a black man out here. It's called New Radio. You can subscribe on Apple, iTunes. It's on Patreon as well. It's a guy newbie. He breaks down relationships in Black America and different dating advice. He used to do dating advices, but he covers politics, different things like that, and understanding those things. But these four, nuggets were something that I took. Took really serious this year. I stopped talking and got to work this year. So those four things, y'all need to write this down. Number one, for your woman to respect you, you need to be on your finances. Like your finances need to be in order, or you need to be actively working on it. I'm working on my finances daily. My girl always like, "What are you doing now?" I'm on here fixing my credit. Like people don't know it. You can fix your own credit, man. Like you can get on here, you can Google something, you can get on Instagram, you'll see people who have credit courses, and you can call these credit bureaus and fix your credit and email them, send them letters and everything. So you can fix that. You need to fix that. You need to get that up in the 700s. You need to be in the 700s to be stable. That's average, man. Like if you want to be successful in this economy, your credit score needs to be really good. But also managing your money, being disciplined on your money and on your bread. And I thank my girl for that always. Like she's always a good extra perspective for me or an extra set of eye. So I could easily go out here and find a female or a woman who is, who's just like a yes woman, a yes man, like just do everything that you say, like, okay, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, this, yeah, yeah, yeah. But she gonna challenge the heck out of me. She gonna challenge me every single time. Like I could come with this idea, but what about this? What if this happens? I don't think that's good. I'm like, damn, she hating on me, man. But really, like, it helps, because I'm such a dreamer and I could be go, go, go. My mind would be in 2050 and she like, yo, we gotta conquer right now. Like we gotta do this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I'm like, dang, all right. Well, let me peel myself back. But your finances are key, man. Like everybody needs to work on that. As black men, we need to work on our finances and be dominant in that area. Like I can't stress that anymore or express that anymore. And then also intellectually, like your mindset needs to be up here and always wanting to get better. Like that's one thing she did tell me. Like I can, she told me we were walking one day. She's just like, you always. One thing I can say is you're always looking for something to get better. You're always trying to get better at something. You're always trying to make it better, and that's with everything with me. Like with our relationship, the only thing that's so hard for me is to do consistently with that is freaking working out, bro. Like it was like when I played football, we had to do it, but now it's just like, man, I don't even want to get out there and do stuff. But that's just reality of what my mindset and where that is. But I have to change that as well because that is important. Your health is key, man. Like you can't live this life without if you're not healthy. Like people dying, but we all got life insurance now, so my whole family strapped. Everybody trying to find that one policy for my little sister because she's autistic. But the finances are getting there, and I'm getting my family there. I'm on them. I'm hard on them about it because
Mm-hmm.
it's like some people think that generational wealth or freedom is far fetched, but it's not. You can utilize what you have right now, like, and I've showed them plans and come up with plans to where we could utilize what we have and protect yourself and generate tax-free retirement income through IULs. What we have, what we sell, what we help people with, and we want to empower our clients, and that's what I'm working towards doing and building my agency is empowering individuals, keeping them, teaching them to be governance. Govern over your own money. You're going to be the best governor of your money. You trusting your employer, you trusting the government to do this. Like, no, what's best for you and what you have. So that is another thing that you want to be always mentally sharp in your intellectual ability, and then also socially. You want to be have some type of social skills, communication. Work on your communication, man. Like I'm not the excellent communicator, man. I'm a total introvert, honestly. Like I'll stay in the house all day long. I don't gotta go outside. Like I'll go out there to get a walk in, but being out in public and doing all of that, being around other people, I don't like that. I don't like being around people. I generally don't like people like that. But I'm in the business of helping people though, so I have to get out of my comfort zone and do what I generally don't like to do, and that's not natural to me. But I could make it look natural. It's just because I had to force myself to do it over these past years. I've reprogrammed my entire mind to do stuff that I don't really like to do. And, Kristen's helped me with that too, especially when it comes to getting a job. Like I knew that my finances need to be somewhere where they just needed to be at a better space. So I needed that stability. So I found a job where I develop a skill, digital marketing, and I'm able to work half the time what a normal person will work every week and still make more money than what they would make. Or I can make what people make in 80 hours, I can make that in 40 hours just off of a skill that I do. I work half of the time and it may take me like 5 hours total work max, and I get paid a good amount of money. But that's just from understanding and developing new skills, and just from my past of failures. And then also, the last thing is physically. Like I did mention the health. So getting yourself in a physical state, like developing your health, your physique, and how you look. And she's hard on me about that as well. So that is one of the areas where I struggle because, like I said, I played ball, man. We was forced to work out, and now I'm just like, man, you gotta force me to work out now. Like we gonna, it's like we be like fighting about it because it's like you don't understand what I went through to have to work out in football. Like we coaches blowing a whistle and all of that, and like you having to be out there early in the morning. It's like it's like trauma for me. So that's how I look at it, man. Those are the four things though that we
Hmm.
need to work on as black men to help us succeed in this life, man. So we can put ourselves and then the one that we're dating or we're marrying and rebuild the family up. Let's get things in order. Insure all the kids. If we insure the kids, man, if we insure everybody in the hood, all of these police killings, brutality, all of that stuff ends instantly. You do business with the insurance company, they take care of you for the rest of your life. That's how you have to look at it. If I do business with this company, or if I have insurance on the kids, the company will go to the local offices, the government, the police, and they will fight for you because they got to pay their money if the police is killing you. They have
That's
to pay their money. They have to pay their death claims if the police are killing the people. So that's it's a simple game, but it's like insurance scares us. Hearing the word insurance, people think of death. Like you said, you taught me that, James. Like when you think of life insurance, what do you think? Death. People, that's what society has put on life insurance, but really society has put a lot of negative things on things that are actually good for you.
hmm
Like weed, people don't know weed is a medicine that people use, but society has deemed it as a drug and evil and the devil. Same thing as insurance. It's a
hmm
tax-free cash cow to get away from the government. That's where the wealthy are putting their money. They go into the insurance companies, like, and that's where people jump onto those initiatives of taxing the wealthy. Man, that's BS. The wealthy are just gonna adjust their ways. They're gonna fire all y'all. So if you don't have no skill, like you're not gonna be relevant in the next few years here because everything is automated, like artificial intelligence. That's where the world is going
that's
to.
where we going.
So so if you're not jumping on that wave of technology and everything, or you working in customer service, you don't have no solid skill, like you about to be dead weight out here, and people not gonna last, man. And that's the truth. People
That's the
aren't
truth.
gonna last because the world is evolving. We're in a time of change. So
Hmm.
I encourage y'all, man. You want to follow me on IG, Mr. LVNU, living uncomfortable. LVNU LVN Uncomfortable. That's the business page. IG agency. We're gonna be doing big things in
Yes,
the
sir.
near future here. In the community, we're gonna be serving. Always here to serve the people. Always here to help one another, help our brothers out, help our sisters out.
That's
We
it.
don't want to take advantage of the clients. We want to, put them in the best positions and utilizing what they have.
That's it.
And
Because if
that's
we
it for
don't
me
do
today.
it, if we don't do it, nobody's gonna
Nobody.
knock on our door to give us
Yeah.
all this valuable information. And I appreciate you, Julian, for coming in. And I'm just gonna rephrase what you said because I wrote them down. The fourth thing you should go out today is a message, especially to the black man. Get on your finances. Stop flashing money and really understand the what
What it
currency
is.
mean, what it is. Okay,
Yeah.
and I think Jay Z. I don't wanna deviate. I think one of the I think what it says the song OJ, the life of OJ or whatever. And then he's like,
Hmm.
you and the gram holding money in your ear. We don't call that money over here. Something like that, because
It's real.
it's anyway. That's another thing. Number two,
It's real.
Julian mentioned intellectually, you got to be, as a black man, listen, intellectually, you got to be sharp. Number three, social
Have to.
skills, communication, learn how to communicate. And number four, he said physically, and we all have a challenge of physically. Well, not we all. Most of us have a challenge, and he mentioned that being vulnerable, but it's something he's working on. So, with that being said, I hope this was of value to you watching this on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Every Wednesday, we have Wine and Whiskey Wednesday, where we have valuable conversation with one young entrepreneurs. Bye bye, everybody. See you soon.